And welcome back to the latest edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, and here are some of the stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Hold on to your chairs, Cherokee Nation. The incumbent and the challenger have both been declared the winner of a recent election for the chief of one of the nation's largest Indian tribes. Twice, in fact. The results of the June 25th election for the chief of the Cherokee Nation remain in doubt after 3 weeks of wrangling and multiple ballot counts. The tribe's Supreme Court will meet on July 19th to try to sort out the mess before the August 14th inauguration. The court hearing comes after a third count of ballots over the weekend showed Principal Chief Chad Smith ahead of the challenger, longtime Councilman Bill John Baker, by 5 votes. The justices will certify the recount results and declare Smith the winner, or they could hear more evidence from the attorneys representing each campaign, or they could order a new election. An election judge for the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe has nullified Donald Mick Finn's election as Secretary-Treasurer in a June 28th special election. The Pioneer newspaper of Bemidji reports that election judge Heidi Drobnik ruled the results invalid July 15th. The vote had been certified by the General Reservation Election Board, which said Finn beat Donald Donnie Hedberg by 6 votes out of about 2,200 cast. But Drobnik found that Hedberg had proved enough violations to warrant a new special election. He had alleged discrepancies at polling places, voter intimidation, and the use of tribal program funds and gas vouchers to influence votes. Ed Delgado is the new chair of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin. The Green Bay Press-Gazette reports that the 65-year-old Delgado beat Ron Tahasi Hill unofficially with 908 to 797 votes in the tribe's July election to replace Rick Hill, who did not seek re-election. Greg Mattson won the position of vice chair, 902 to 731 against Dennis D.J. Danforth Jr. In referendum questions, voters decided that the Oneida Nation Tribal Police Chief should be an elected position and that absentee ballots should be accepted for tribal members unable to attend elections in person. The Yakama Nation is suing several Mississippi municipalities over allegations that their law enforcement officials illegally invaded tribal lands during an FBI-led raid earlier this year. The target of the February 16th search was property that belongs to King Mountain Tobacco, which was under federal investigation at the time in a black market cigarette conspiracy. The city of Tupelo and Marshall County in Mississippi are among targets in the lawsuit. The Confederate Tribes and Bands of Yakama Nation claim police barged into tribal land without prior notice and invaded their peace. The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court of Eastern Washington seeks a court order compelling the defendants to notify the tribe of any entry into reservation lands. News of the lawsuit came last week in a city of Tupelo, a memo obtained by the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. In it, the city's attorney, John Hill, asked City Clerk Glenda Muse to put on the City Council's July 19th agenda a proposal to hire a Washington state law firm to represent the city in the lawsuit. In Hill's memo, he explains that a Tupelo police officer has been assisting federal authorities with the cigarette investigation and participated in an action on the Yakama Reservation in Washington. Other Mississippi entities are named for similar reasons. The tribe says the raids, which it calls an invasion, was a violation of the Yakama Treaty of 1855 and other federal laws that protect trade and commerce of tribes on and off the reservation. An acclaimed environmentalist and a renowned former basketball coach are scheduled speakers for an energy conference being held by the 3 affiliated tribes in North Dakota. The tribe's first renewable energy summit is this week in Newtown. Officials say it will focus on responsible energy development. The Bismarck Tribune reports that speakers will include former Louisiana state basketball coach and motivational speaker Dale Brown and Ted Strong, a judge for the Yakama Nation who was named Environmentalist of the Year by the Audubon Society and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Helen Goff, the first tribal member to receive oil royalty payments in the Newtown area, is also scheduled to speak. A southern Oregon tribe has opened a freeway rest stop just off Interstate 5. The Roseburg News Review says the Cow Creek tribe hopes to entice some of the travelers who stop there to go to its casino, hotels, and other tourist businesses. The Jordan Creek stop is on a ridge overlooking the Seven Feathers Truck and Travel Center just off the freeway. It's called a rest stop rather than a rest area to distinguish it from the state-operated stations. Tribal officials will patrol it. The rest stop has a covered pavilion, picnic tables, vending machines, a fenced yard for dogs, and views of mountains for the travelers. The state estimates it will avoid spending nearly $2 million for water and sewer repairs and save more than $250,000 a year by closing 2 nearby rest areas that have served 1,400 motorists a day. Former Syracuse lacrosse player Brent Bucktooth headed a contingent of members of the Onondaga Indian Nation who were special guests to the White House during July. Their appearance is part of the First Lady Michelle Obama's program to get kids into active and healthy lifestyles. Students participated in lacrosse stations on the South Lawn that demonstrated both traditional and modern forms of the game. It's the first for the sport, with people from the Syracuse area playing a major role. Bucktooth is a member of the Oneida Nation of New York, also from Central New York. Leadership from the White House, Department of Interior, National Museum, and the American Indian joined lacrosse stars Danny Gladen, Matt Danowski, Bucktooth, and Jenny Collins, as well as former traditional lacrosse stick maker Al Jacques, former Orange Star Orange Lions, and Sid Hill at that meeting. Also, we apologize for those of you who check in daily with the Native News Update to being on the road and a few staffing and technical issues. We decided that we would simply gather content to provide to you over the next few days, including programs from New Echota, Georgia, the former capital of the Cherokee Nation, the Battle of Tippecanoe near Lafayette, Indiana, and watch or check out the library for the Dalai Lama that was recorded from his presentation in Chicago on July 18th. That and more, like checking in IndianCountryTV.com website the next couple days, at Channel 2, where we are broadcasting the Nation Talk live stream network and their coverage of the Honoring the Waters Indigenous Leadership Water Forum Conference from Canada. And that is going to be the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to say miigwech for joining with us and welcome us back.